KGRA Digital Broadcasting and Pop Culture Minefield presents Dangerous Military Nerds. Dangerous Military Nerds. They're just like regular nerds, only dangerous. And now, your hosts, Don Ecker and Gerry Kissell. Warning. The following program involves discussions between military veterans. As such, it is almost guaranteed that there will be coarse language and crude subject matter. So if the words piss, fuck, cock, cunt, and shit offend you, or if openly discussing that one time you were butt-fucking your ex-girlfriend and her miniature pincher jumped up on the bed and started licking your asshole until you had the best orgasm of your life makes you uncomfortable, this might not be the place for you. Otherwise, enjoy.
My grandchildren didn't hear that. Anyway, I was going to say today, another edition of Dangerous Military Nerds. I'm jumping in there because Gary's been over here shoving shit in his mouth all
I nutted up.
long.
I nutted up.
But this show is being brought to you in care of Fuel Up, the wakeful stuff. This is the orange sherbet edition. Now, let me tell you, I just recently started to drink that, and it has, beyond any doubt, saved my bacon. I'll tell you why. 2 weeks ago, my wife had to undergo some surgery on her leg, and my little darling has been out of commission for the most part, which means that suddenly everything that used to take two of us is now only being done by one of us. Yesterday, I had to go shopping, and by the time I got home, honest to God, I was dragging anchor. Well, I'm in here, I'm checking some stuff, had picked up the mail, whatever. Now I'm looking to see what came in the mail, and it's mostly crap, all right? And I'm just thinking, damn it, I think I ought to go in and take a nap. And right here, honest to God, right hand up, is my bag of Fuel Up. And I thought, I'm going to make myself a big cup of that, and this is supposed to get you moving. I did, and it did. Unsolicited testimonial, but it's the truth. I felt almost normal. Now, Gary will tell you that all that day I was out of sorts. Was I out of sorts, Gary?
You were out of sorts. You were out of sorts.
This stuff got me back on track. So, if you believe anything I say,
you told me right when it happened. It's like, man, I was out and now I'm in. I'm like, yeah, I'm telling you. Wait, look, I'm not saying it's cocaine, but I'm saying it's not cocaine. No, it's not cocaine. But I'm going to tell you, I've never felt so fucking good all day long. All the way through into the evening. I'm just feeling it. It stays with me all day. I feel energized. I'm gonna freak out when I run out. That's why we got to get a deal together with them because I want more. I like the way I feel when I'm drinking that in the morning. I feel so more. My thoughts are more clear. I'm not bouncy, but I'm energized. Because you've seen me bouncy when I drink too much coffee, and I'm just like,
yeah. But most of the time, you're off in your own. It's like you're off in your own little damn world over there, doing something. I'm trying to talk to the guy, and he's over there doing something on his computer.
Note
and it's
to self,
like he's totally
stop
oblivious.
Telling stuff that's important to Don. He doesn't get it. I'll read that later. So yeah, but we were talking about the show because Scott gave me this thing of it's maple bourbon butter toffee peanuts. And I looked at him, I said, I can't eat those. And he goes, oh, you got to eat them. I said, I'm diabetic. And he goes, you got to eat them because nobody else will eat them. So what I did is I'm looking for all of the ones that the candy has fallen off of. I'm eating the naked peanuts. So before the show, I said I was getting nutted up before the show.
So
He was over there shoving them in his face as fast as he could grab them out.
So Scott gives you treats. He used a diary, newspaper on you. Please, Gary.
Oh, he's in the other room playing video games.
Aim well when you're peeing. Otherwise, you will be fixed.
Yeah, it's like the sign in the bathroom. We aim to please. We ask you to please aim too. So let's see who's all here. We got Penny is here. Hi, Penny. That is Dork Knight's mom. Anima, of course, love of my life, who shit on me on our earlier show. Let's see if she'll shit on me some more today. She says, I know he'll love me afterwards, so I'll say what I want. Anyway, Andy Morrow is here. There's that voice that when we go to our outro, hey, dumb voice I do. Christian Delorme is here. I hope you're done drinking Pabst Blue Ribbon, buddy. I told him, I said, when I was in the Army, I made that comment. I said, paint me red, white, and blue and call me a Pabst. And he made him laugh. I said, I really said it to a bunch of the guys. I was trying to be patriotic, and I just said that. Sean Estep is here, too. How you doing, man? Let's see. Fish Belly is here again. Welcome back. And our good friend, Keen's Pork Belly? Well, I know what a fish belly is, but I don't know why he's named that. Or I don't know if he or she. Did I just assume your gender? Yeah, I did. Sorry. I make mistakes.
I'm sorry, sir, but that is racist.
Oh, God.
Okay.
PBR. Yeah, Keen's Pork Cow. That was Christian Delorme was drinking
Now,
PBR.
for what it's worth, Gary, PBR is my favorite beer of all. If
Really?
I'm not drinking Guinness, yeah.
Yeah, Guinness.
And if I'm drinking Guinness, chances are it's a black and tan.
Yeah, with if you don't know what a black and tan is, it is a 50-50 mixture of Bass Ale and Guinness. And Bass Ale is lighter than Guinness. Guinness is very dense and heavy. So you put the Bass Ale on top and it's black and tan. And then when you go to drink it, as it narrows to the drinking point, they split and you drink both at the same time. It's amazing the way it works. You have more shit coming. Good, my love. After putting it 45 minutes before the show, you and Scott, I'm ready for round two. Well, you're welcome. So, what did you say? Someone says, my dad is type 2 diabetic. He sneaks a lot. It's a mistake. You shouldn't do that. It's okay to have cheat days because even as a diabetic, one single day can't mess you up. But if you do it consistently on a regular basis, you're doing more harm than good. And as a diabetic, I'll tell you, I know that firsthand. I'm learning my lesson. Full name, Fish Belly White, because I am Fish Belly and white. There you go. Hence the blue ribbon. Yep. For Anima, this is Christian Delorme, $5 Canadian. For Anima, drummers lead armies into battle and guitarists were left begging for coins on street corners. Love from Canada. Anima, thank you. I'm so glad to hear that he's a drummer too. We get so much shit, but the fact is, we make up for it because we get laid more than anybody else in the band. And that's a fact. Stream of consciousness is always my favorite topic. Thank you, John. It's something that Don and I discovered that we're good at. We both like doing it, just talking. And we can find any subject to talk about.
For example, what video?
Well, last night,
Christian?
for example, I did the MUFON show here on KGRA and had been invited on. And Chris DiPerno, who's a good friend of ours, very good friend, is one of the lead hosts. And I knew Chris. I didn't know the two ladies he was with, Katie and Tara, but I met them last night. So anyway, we're talking about stuff. They asked me some questions. And Gary, I used to joke with my buddy Mark. He would ask me a question, and then he'd look at me, smile, and he'd say, I just dropped a quarter in you. And I would start. And I would spew and vomit shit that I forgot that I even remembered. Okay. And it's weird how it works, but that's how it worked last night. So, yeah, the stream of conscious, and you can get into some freaky areas with stream of consciousness.
One of the best songs I ever wrote lyrically, and actually, to be honest, musically, delved into the kidnapping of my daughter. But if you listen to the words, read the words, you'd never know it. But that's what it is. It's stream of conscious flow. And I recognize what I'm saying in the song, but it's done in so much metaphor that the average listener would think that it's about love and something like that. And instead, no, it's about my daughter. And it's why it's her favorite song I ever wrote. She like walks around singing my songs all the time, my daughter.
You know, a few days ago, I was up on YouTube looking for something, and I literally stumbled over several of your songs you've got up there.
Oh,
what is
like
it?
Cohen's Ghost. Cohen's
Yeah.
Ghost.
I did. Yes, I did.
It's good stuff, man. It's like I follow the traditional rock of the 70s with the 1 minute long intros. I like that. It's one of my favorite things.
Don doing an Elroy was here.
What?
You mean Leroy?
You gotta bring your cameras to you're too low on the camera. You're like down here, and they want you to come up.
Maybe that's where I want it.
I know. I don't know. I'm not going to tell you what to do. But if you do want to bring it up, you just lower your camera thing. And
really, is that how you do it?
Yeah, it's fucking easy.
You send me a diagram.
It's not fucking riot. What are you, fucking John Brandenburg? It doesn't require a rocket scientist, but we got one. I love how he just has trouble with technology. I think it's hilarious.
Yeah, the guy goes to university, gets his PhD, and he can't figure out his microphone and his camera all at the same time.
Oh my God, I'm glad you brought that up. So like Daily Caller called out, and not just her, Daily Caller, but what's her name from Fox, the pretty blonde.
They're all
left
blondes,
Fox,
aren't
and
they?
she left Fox and she's now on another network, but she went after Jill Biden and the local Fox. I think it was Fox Fox Sports, referred to as Dr. Jill Biden again. And it's like, look, this is the understanding that we were all given in college, that you're not a doctor unless you have an MD or a PhD. If you got an ED, education's doctorate, you don't get to be called doctor. And that's what she's got. And she is just touting it like she's like something else, man. And everybody calling Jill Biden doctor is annoying because she's not supposed to be called that.
I was going to see if she was okay to do an appendectomy, but I guess not, huh?
Well, when you take out an appendix, it's called an appendectomy. When you take out your tonsils, it's called a tonsillectomy. When a girl becomes a boy, it's called an addictomy.
I'm not going to touch that one, pal.
Not going to touch that, huh?
No.
I don't touch no wieners. That's funny. One day I'm going to be touching a wiener. I'll touch a wiener. Her name is, we know her as Anima Confusa because she's from Vienna. Therefore, she's a wiener.
She hated my
Vienna. She's a Vienna. She hates it when I do it, and I don't care. I do it because it annoys her a little bit. What are you talking about, Gary? Stop it. You're such a jerk. She really has a beautiful accent. I just love listening to her talk. But I also love her reaction, her annoyance with me when I do her accent. But she gets a kick out of it when I do Arnold, you know.
I got to tell you, the first time she hit me with an F-bomb,
Yeah,
kinda
she'll do it. It'll
shocked
shock
me.
you. It'll shock you. It really will. She's, oh, fuck that, Don. That's fucking crazy. But anyway, she knows how. She's such an amazing person. But look, we're weird.
Say, I wish you folks at home could see this. Seymour, where did you get such a weird plant?
Us. You and I are John Candy from that movie. My favorite moment is when he starts doing the like some woman just walked in and her husband, like, you know, has a gun, and he starts making the gun sound effects, and like the kid is like, what is going on? No clue. That's what doing a show with us is like. But I got to tell you, that whole PhD and medical doctorate thing has always been something that they really hit us heavy with, that you don't call somebody a doctor. And man, she wants to be called doctor. She wants it. Joe Biden wants her to be called doctor. Everybody wants to call her doctor. And the fact is, yes, she has a doctorate, but sorry, you don't call an ED, an educational doctorate, a doctor. It's just doesn't exist.
Why, Gary? Why?
There's the rules they came up with. I'll live by them. That's all I know. What else we got going, man? It's been a crazy couple of weeks.
So I had a crazy conference call after this morning's show.
Ooh.
So right after I'm done, okay, I had to retire into the library for a few minutes.
The dressing room.
And yeah, well, it doubles library dressing room, you know.
Yeah.
And just as I'm coming out, because I gotta get the link to get on the show, the phone rings. And it's Bob Kiviat, and he wants to talk. And I said, I can't talk. I'm doing a show in a couple of minutes. Oh, okay. I said, you know that, Bob. Hell, Wednesdays I do 2 shows. So anyway, so now I got that to look forward to later on today. Lucky me, huh?
Right. Remind me who Bob Kiviat is.
TV producer. He was on the show last week.
That was Bob?
Yeah. Yeah.
I see so many people.
Yeah, lay off the non-pharmaceutical drugs, Gary. Okay.
You mean the insulin? I told somebody one time I pulled out my syringe and I'm getting ready to put insulin in me, and I looked over at this family and they were looking at me and they saw the syringe. I said, "Oh, it's just heroin." I'm gonna get shoot up in the bathroom. I won't do it in front of you. People don't know how to react to the weird shit that I say to them in public. Looks like we got Monkey Jeebus is here finally. Magitech Mags is here. Dragon Ruse, John Ostains, and was it Marvy Marie? Let me look at the fucking chat here.
Hey, Gary.
Wake up.
Gary.
Don't you trust my typing?
I do not trust your typing sometimes.
Oh,
It
that
is
hurts.
Marvy Marie R. Okay. Look, dude, you have fucked up some of our friends' names in there.
Maybe.
Maybe. Let's see. Bullshit. I had an art teacher who had a doctorate. He was called Dr. What the fuck are you talking about? You can get away with that all you want to, but you do that in an official setting and they'll call you down. Now, what was her doctorate in art? Was it just like I don't know how they would phrase that, you know, how it would be spelled out after her name.
Another dipsy doodle degree from college. Dipsy doodle. Did you catch that?
Doodle.
Dipsy doodle degree.
Because she could have had a PhD in art, Marvin Marie.
Or not.
I don't know. If they were calling her a doctor, odds are she probably had a PhD in art. So I'm just telling you what we were instructed to do, and that it's considered inappropriate to call anyone else that doesn't have a PhD or a medical doctorate. Now, what's funny is you'll see movies where they go, like you see a veterinarian, and it's like, oh, I'm a veterinarian. I can't work on a human that's been shot. It's like, that's not true, because veterinarians, just like psychiatrists, have to get an MD before they move on to the next level. So every psychiatrist has a degree in medicine, and every veterinarian has a MD in human medicine before they get their veterinarian doctorate.
Well, just so you know, okay, I was probably, excuse me, one of the biggest fans of the series Supernatural that watched that show for 15 years. And the last couple of years, on one episode, Sam Winchester got shot and abducted. And he ended up being taken to a veterinarian that treated him on TV. So, yes, they can do it. I saw it.
Even in fiction.
That's right.
But, you know, like I said, every doctor of veterinary medicine has a human doctorate first, and same with psychiatrists. That's why they're able to prescribe medication, because they have a medical doctorate. Let's see. Would Gary say someone with a PhD is in physics isn't a doctor? A lot harder to get that. No, I said a PhD is a doctor. You are you're to be called a doctor. It's more of a doctor in most ways than some other doctors. But according to what we were taught in school, college, that's it. Those two are the only ones that get to be called doctor.
Kingsport Cal. There you go.
And by the way, what are you thinking of Winchester so far?
I'm waiting for the magic to kick in. Okay. Look, in the original series, they had two actors that played, and through time portals and what have you, that played Mary Winchester, a young actress, blonde. Boy, she was a cutie. And this other actor who played John Winchester, the dad. And I kind of got hung up on them in the series. Well, now they got two brand new actors, and they haven't quite clicked with me like the other two did. But I'm giving it a chance. Giving it a chance. For whatever that's worth. And if you get right down to it, who gives a damn, right?
Well, I mean, we got to act like we care. And DDS also falls under medical. Clearly, medical. You have a doctorate in the medical field. Dr. Pepper is a fucking doctor. I'll tell you what, I learned camping as a kid. Do not drink Dr. Pepper and eat Cheetos on a camping trip.
Hey, did you get a boner when they would call you Doc when you were in the Army?
No, I actually hated it.
Really?
Yeah, I don't know why. I think it's because I grew up with the comedy of Mike Warnke, Vietnam vet. He was a Navy hospital corpsman that served in Marines during Vietnam.
Yeah.
And he was one of my favorite comedians for a while. And Mike Beatty, who's been on our show before, my childhood, one of my three childhood best friends, he stole my fucking Mike Warnke record. And it was called Hey Doc, was the name of it. And so when I got called Doc, it would bug me because that's all I would think of is Mike Warnke. And most people just called me by my name. I'd hear medic every once in a while.
Did you ever deliver a baby?
Ghost. I've delivered a lot of
to say
babies.
about that.
I delivered a baby.
Just not my sisters like you did.
I delivered a baby.
Yep. I've been involved with the delivery of probably upwards of 200 babies.
Are you bragging?
No, it's fact. Just yeah, Gary enjoyed it when his fellow soldier called him Doc. Not that often. I preferred not being called Doc. I didn't want to be called Doc because it made me think of. But they did call me Doc. I'm not saying they didn't. They did call me Doc. I like being called Ghost too because that was a nickname I got. I earned that one. I scared the shit out of everybody at one time or another in the military. And to this day, My sergeant still doesn't know how I did it. And if he ever watches our show, he'll know that the way we were out on field training exercise, and I was picked as sniper because I was best shot in the company. So I went out there, and what I discovered when you're wearing miles gear, you guys didn't have that during that era. So miles gear, they show it in the movie Heartbreak Ridge. You got sensors all over the VB equipment, all over your belt, on your back, and somebody sits off at a distance, and if you get hit with a laser on one of those sensors, it'll pick it up and it'll go boom. It's really fucking ridiculously loud. I mean, like,
we have breach.
Twice as loud as it really needs to be. And let's see. Let me do this real quick.
Jeebus. It's Jeebus.
Of course it's Jeebus. Let's see. Here we go.
Hello, boys! I'm back!
Right up the old sphincter. So I got to play sniper, and I went up went off in the distance and then came back around, circled back around, and sat up on a ridge line, and it was completely covered in leaves. And I sat there, and what I discovered is that with that miles gear, you're supposed to fire the blank, and it every time you fire around, a laser will go up. Okay, it's the concussion of the round. What I discovered is if you hit the barrel with a rock, it does the same thing. So I sat about 50 yards away from everybody, hidden in leaves, and I just started tapping that barrel of the M16, tapping it, and all of a sudden miles gear was going off, and then I hit about 5 to 10 people really quickly, and that is a cacophony of sound I've never heard before. It was ridiculous that all those sirens going off at once and people yelling, "Shut that goddamn thing off!" People cussing, and I sat up there, and they couldn't find me. They couldn't find me because they weren't getting a report. They couldn't narrow it down. And I said, this is the scary part of what a real sniper would be, because you'd have trouble finding them. And I fucked with them. And that freaked my sergeant out. Like, how did you do that? And I got the nickname Ghost over that. And the fact is, I cheated. That's what I did. I always identify with Captain Kirk and cheating on the Kobayashi Maru test, because I cheated too.
He reprogrammed the computer.
Well, that's what they show in the movie. I think he did something else in the actual Gene Roddenberry universe. But Miles Gear is a lot of fun. I enjoyed it. Let's see. Knight Rider is here. And Peter Vinkman Fanside has joined us. So welcome to the show, guys. It's Stream of Conscious Flow Wednesday.
Yes. Yes, it is.
And what are we going to talk about next?
I'm going to have some water right here, which
I'm hydrating too.
You got to keep hydrated. You know, it's funny today, and it'll be the first time in, months, it seems like, that we may get close to 70 degrees. It has been so damned chilly. It's been just really, really chilly. Now, for the rest of the country that's undergoing blizzards right now, they're going to tell me I'm full of it when I tell you how low it gets at night. But in California, okay, that's a whole different ball of wax. It's been dropping in the low 40s. And that's like Antarctica out here. I know you're bleeding, right? You're really bleeding for me.
Because it's fucking cold here.
Yeah.
Drove me out of the garage. So cold.
Is that where your buddy's wife calls you the troll that lives in our garage?
She just came home one day and she says, "How's the garage troll doing?" That just tickled me.
Yeah.
Did I miss the technical outrage yet? No, not really. I mean, we did some mocking of people misusing Doctor. Past that, it's mostly been Monkey Jeebus breaching the back door. It's his favorite thing to do, breaching back doors. Let's see. Body, I'm reading some of the comments so far, seeing if there's anything. Nope. fellow soldier called him Doc. It's not like I hated it. It's just it reminded me too much of Mike Warnke. And if you've never listened to the comedy of Mike Warnke, you should check it out. His story, one of the incidents that happened to him in Vietnam, sliding down during monsoon season, he said he fell onto some banana leaves and some baby bananas, and ended up going at about 100 miles an hour down a slope of a hill. And he said, his description always kills me. And baby bananas, when you land on that stuff, that mush, it's slicker than snot on a doorknob. I love that description.
This is interesting. Has this show ever covered Radio First Termer, a pirate radio station in 1971 Vietnam, run by quote unquote Dave Rabbit? He went on to work on Above Top Secret. This
I don't know
is
who
the
that
first
is.
time I ever heard of it. Now, South Vietnam was believe it or not, a pretty big country. I was all the way up north. This had to probably be all the way down south somewhere, because I was in Vietnam in 71. But I never heard of it, John. Never heard of it. And Gary's looking it up right now. You can tell by the look on his face.
No, I got a message from Mad Mardigan. He said he couldn't join us today because he's waiting for medication.
Oh, okay.
So
I was going to talk to him about the Korean War, but
okay. Korean War, because you're a Korean vet, right? Not that fucking old. My dad served in the Korean War. What are you talking about? That's like 1950. It was a kid. Hey, Kyle's here. What's up, man? Lord Thoth is here too. All hail Lord Thoth. Good to see everybody. So you were in Vietnam, huh? What happened there?
Oh, hey, well, they made a song about us called Fortunate Son.
Fortunate Son, yeah.
Yeah.
There are a few songs that are popular and used a lot in Vietnam War films. Here's something about that.
You got any good stories I could tell them about how cool Nam is?
You know, there's lots of things you expect in war. Carnage, the sleepless nights. But what they don't prepare you for is the incessant use of Fortunate Son.
White Rabbit. I'll never forget an episode back in the 80s on Miami Vice. Now, Miami Vice, Sonny Crockett, Detective Crockett, was allegedly, supposedly a Vietnam vet. And they had an episode where this guy who had been a Vietnam vet that somehow got his package blown off, but he was working as an assassin for some covert black intelligence group. So Sonny Burnett, okay, Burnett was his cover name when he was undercover. They were working veterans shelters and veterans enclaves where these guys would hang out because they were all fucked up, right? Mentally fucked up. That was the shtick. Hollywood loved to turn Vietnam veterans
into psychos.
Right.
Yeah, they want to turn them into broken people.
But anyway, Crockett and Detective Crockett, that's Burnett, and his buddy Rico Tubbs were working these veteran enclaves to the tune of Gracie Slick and White Rabbit. And oh my God, I'm telling you, I found it spooky watching that, because I was a cop then. I was a working cop, and I had done some undercover work, and just that and Vietnam, the experience, this episode, I sat there with the hair on the back of my neck going up, Gary. I kid you not.
Man, I missed that show, by the way. I loved Miami Vice.
Do you remember that show? The guy used to, the killer carried a K-bar behind his neck.
Yeah, I remember that one.
Yeah, he was whacking prostitutes. I think that was, if I remember now, I think that was the thing. Some prostitute emasculated him with a
Right.
straight razor. I think that was it, and he was out to get even.
Yeah, that was shit. I think that was Duty of Honor episode.
I don't remember.
It had to do with the Vietnam vet and what was done to him and how he snapped. You know, because Hollywood loves that word snapped. They buy into it way too much. Snapped. Like suddenly, you know, every veteran's going to snap. I told you I had that incident at work where I just spoke a little too openly. And everybody thought I was going to snap and kill everyone.
No.
Do you guys
no.
not understand who I am? No, I'm not like that. Like, why would you think that way with me? Weird. No, Michael Mann does do good stuff. I like Michael Mann.
Well,
I still buy. A lot of people don't know
Miami
this.
Vice movie sucked.
Yeah, it really did. But I got to tell you, Heat. A lot of people do not know that is based on a true story, and it really went down similar. They really sexed it up for the big bank heist. What in reality happened was a heist at a grocery store, and it led to a shootout. But the cop and the criminal that got out of prison, that De Niro played, in real life, they had a meeting like that. And at the end of the conversation, it's like, well, you know, we could have been friends. It's too bad. Like, if we see each other again, one of us is going to die. And that's exactly what happened. And just like in the movie, he killed him. But one thing a lot of people don't catch in that film, and in reality, the real detective that was involved in that case was coked up a lot.
Oh, really? Really?
And it's actually, if you pay attention to Al Pacino's character, you can tell his character, he was playing him to be high on cocaine. And he admitted to it in an interview that, yeah, the character was supposed to be high on coke all the time. And you would see it like the way he would act, do the hand gesture, and then he would like get really wired and turn and talk a lot and talk really fast and get really, really excited about things. And that was all to show in reality what was going on with the real cop that was involved. And I thought it was a neat little nod to the real detective because he had a cocaine problem. He really did.
My wife tells me I have a caffeine problem.
I don't think there's any such thing. I believe that's real. Tell her that's as made up as what's the fakest UFO story you ever heard? You know, I learned something yesterday, and I was unaware that Bud Hopkins had written a book about the New York Bridge incident.
Yeah.
And I watched a video on that going, what the fuck? I thought I kept up on stuff, and that was a story that completely got past me.
The lady that allegedly happened to is a friend of my wife, Vicky, on Facebook. Now, I talked to her, oh God, it's got to be over 25 years ago. But that was a very strange case. And Hopkins, Bud did a lot of, and we knew Bud. I knew Bud real well.
Yeah, and he's the reason why I got into ufology, because I read one of the witness books. I can't remember what it is. Missing Time. Is that it? Missing Time? He wrote that in 80?
And
81?
he wrote Intruders. Missing Time. He wrote Intruders.
I read Intruders.
I had a case of missing time that happened to me in 1969. It was right before I left my first year of college. I quit, and joined the military, joined the Army. But I was going to a state college called California State Teachers College, because my original motivation to go over there, I wanted to be a history teacher, a history instructor. Now, it was over by Pittsburgh, but down around Washington, Pennsylvania. Okay. Now, all of that is rich history going all the way back to the American Revolution. But how I would get there from my hometown, which was central western Pennsylvania, I would hop on a highway that would take me right down to the turnpike. And then I would make a right on the turnpike, and I'd drive for about 2 hours to get over to where my school was. And right before the exit, there was a Howard Johnson's there. Now,
Hojo's.
if I were
Yeah.
Howard Johnson restaurant.
Yeah, we called them Hojo's. That was just a nickname we gave them. I love Hojo's, man. I miss them.
Well, this place made their own cinnamon rolls.
Mm.
And what I used to do when I would go home for the weekend and go back, I would always stop there, have a cup of coffee and a cinnamon roll before I drove the rest of the way to the school. Well, it would take me roughly 2.5 hours, no more, to get there. So I would leave home between 5:30 and 6, drive down to the turnpike, get on the turnpike, drive west, okay, to get over toward Pittsburgh, stop at Howard Johnson's, get a roll. And as you walked in, it had double doors. Walk from the parking lot into the first double doors. It was like a foyer there. And then another set of double doors into the restaurant. But right above the second double doors was big round clock. So I'd get over there usually right around 8 p.m. So on this particular Sunday, I had gone down, gotten on the turnpike, drove over, stopped at Howard Johnson's. Don't remember anything strange, but when I got there and I parked in the parking lot, got out, walked in, I'm looking up at the clock, and it doesn't say almost 8. It says 10 o'clock. And I'm looking at my wristwatch, 10 o'clock. I'm looking at this clock. So I go in, I asked the waitress, I said, what time is it? And it was like, by that time, 10:01 something. And I'm like, holy shit. It took me 4 hours to get here? Something ain't right about that. Well, I had my cinnamon roll, my cup of coffee, and Gary, almost immediately, I put it out of my mind. And I did not remember that for 20 freaking years. 20 years. When I told Hopkins that, oh, hang on, we got a healthcare worker.
You get somebody at the
in.
door, yeah.
Yeah, my wife. It's for my wife. She's having her leg checked. Hello, ladies. Okay. Live radio, pal. Live radio.
From the house.
So anyway, I tell Hopkins about this, and he said, well, I could explore that. We were at a UFO conference.
Right.
He said, but I don't know. He said, would you allow me to try to hypnotize you? The only time I ever did it.
Did it
and
work?
I said, okay. Well, depends. We got to a point that I couldn't get any further. Whatever it was, okay, it was like there was a block there, Gary. So I told him, and this part I do remember, I told him I had the sensation of sitting in a steel chair without a back. Okay. And then my back hurt. Okay. This is under the hypnosis. And I do have some scarring on my back. Some of it was from shrapnel, okay, when I got wounded. But not all of it. So I don't know. It's always been a mystery.
That's
And I was
interesting.
19, I think I was 19 or 20 when this happened. 19.
I wonder
19.
what Bud Hopkins would think of all this shit now with the DOD and everything coming forward. This is
Hopkins, okay, I got to tell you, he and I clashed about something.
No way.
Yeah, we did. He would never publicly acknowledge, and he told me why, but he would never publicly acknowledge the fact that some of this stuff was scary and dangerous. Now, he would acknowledge the scariness. Okay.
Right.
Oh, yeah. Well, if this happened to you and you're not really into the subject, blah, 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 this would be a scary thing, but everybody comes back. And then I told him, and this is where we clashed. I said, Bud, no, everybody doesn't come back. And I was very fresh on my information then. And I gave him a few cases where people flat out disappeared. One of them was the Frederick Valentek case, okay, which happened over in Australia. A young guy, 21 years old, was flying a small Piper Cub type aircraft, and he radioed in. He was by himself on the aircraft, radioed in that this huge metallic craft flew in, was hovering above his aircraft as he was flying it, and then everything just went black. Never found the aircraft, never found wreckage, nothing, okay? He just flat disappeared. While recounting, he was being shadowed by a UFO. Now, a rather famous incident happened after that. I was invited by Michael Corbin, who was a very good friend of mine. Mike, incidentally, died under some strange circumstances, was found on a highway in Colorado dead. The official reasoning was he had a stroke, and he sat there for a day dead in his vehicle until somebody pulled over and went up to see what was going on. But anyway, we had been friends for a number of years, and he had begun an organization called MyCap. My, like M, Marie, Mary, okay? MyCap, not NICAP. A lot of people got confused about that. And he said, hey, Don, he said, I'd like to fly you in. He said, how would you like to debate Phil Klass? And everybody that's in this field should at least be aware of who Phil Klass was. He was a senior editor with Aviation Week, Space Technology magazine. He was the genuine bugaboo skeptic when it came to explaining away any UFO case. And if he didn't have the facts, Phil would make them up, okay, like he tried during this debate. So we got in there, the audience that was filled up. We started our debate. And make a long story short, I brought up the Valentek disappearance. Well, Phil didn't know his ass from third base, but he decided to come up with a reasoning of what had happened. And I said, oh, God, I'm all ears. What? Well, he had to be smuggling drugs. And I said, what? Phil, how in the hell could you say that? Well, he had 4 life preservers on his aircraft, and he was the only one there, pilot. So they had to be filled with drugs. I said, what's your reasoning, Phil? What's your proof? And he, of course, didn't have any. Well, this got all the way back to Valentek's family in Australia. Now, I read about that. It may be, as a matter of fact, you might want to check it out right now. There was a big article up on Wikipedia about that. Frederick Valentek. So you may find something there, but I'll never forget how that angered me. What he did, it was besmirching that kid who disappeared, his reputation.
Yeah, it's not cool. You shouldn't do that, man. Look, you also dealt with, as a cop, you dealt with an incident of a human mutilation case.
No, not as a cop.
Oh, I thought that was when you were a cop. After you were a cop. Okay.
After I was a cop. This happened in the area of Jerome, Idaho. John Osteen says, if he hasn't said it before, have Don please tell when he stopped Phil Class from getting his ass kicked.
We're coming close to our break. Let's talk about that in the second part. I'm going to go ahead and get some of the not super chats, the chats read because I think they're worth reading. Fishbelly says, quote, love is a boy and his dog. It's a great film. Don Johnson. Good short story. It's a great film. The girl's like, it's me and the dog. And next thing you know, he and the dog are eating the girl. You don't get between a boy and a dog.
Yeah, but the dog was psychic. The dog was psychic.
That's right.
A psychic dog.
Yep. In Canada, according to Kyle, snap is slang for masturbation. Maybe that's what they thought Gary was going to do. Shut up, Kyle. Let's see. Kingsport, Cal. Yeah, Pacino tries to play Hannah coked up. Yeah, because apparently, when I watched the documentary about them, he had a nose candy problem in real life, a speed problem, coke problem, little both maybe. John Osteen says, I think Heat is the only time Pacino and De Niro appeared on screen at the same time since Godfather 2, and that was split screen. It was two different scenes, two different time eras, so they're not on camera together. I love. Actually, there's a super edit of all of the Godfather movies. Why they bothered with the third one, I don't know. But I love that connection between the first film and the second film. Very good. Let's see. They say you are an alcoholic if you drink during the day. I only drink at night. That they are full of shit. You're an alcoholic when you're a fucking alcoholic. My dad was an alcoholic and he drank all the time. He didn't need a reason, that's just it. When you're drinking, instead of drinking something else, you're drinking booze all the time. There's a good chance you might be, but not necessarily. People love to label. They love labels, and I'm not big on that. It's like, not everything is exactly what you think it is. You can't fucking paint everybody into a corner. So, but anyway, and yes, I'm glad you know that, Kingsport Cal. It's a good story. Fascinating story, the story behind Heat. I own the Miami Vice DVD. I like that film. And I am positive that it is Duty and Honor is the episode, Don. I'm positive that's the name of the episode because I remember it. The Vietnam vet was disfigured during the war and took it out on Saigon whores during the war, and then crimes start like it again. And one of their buddies from the CIA is involved in that too, and I can't remember his name, but he was a recurring character throughout the series.
Well, he was, this guy, supposedly the vet had been a hitter for the CIA. He had been a contract killer for them. Okay, if I remember.
Maybe that's what I'm remembering. Maybe that's what I'm remembering. Gary going postal? No way. I'd never go postal. It's, in fact, I always tell somebody, I said, if something in me ever snapped, it would be like nobody would know what happened. They would go, hey, did you know this Billy doesn't come to work anymore? Wonder what happened to him. And I just go, I don't know. I go about my business. But I would never snap. Just too organized. Michael Mann does good stuff. Absolutely agree. Let's see. Monkey Jeebus. Shouldn't it be called People of Color Market? I don't even know what that's in reference to, buddy. It's too far along in the show. I don't remember it. Martine, my grandfather was a U.S. citizen. He too served during the Korean War. You mean like Don? I wish Matt was here.
No, like Jeebus' father.
I only knew about that after he died. That's interesting. And then backdoor intruders. Thank you, Martin. Let's see. That's to Mags. Mags is here, of course. Magitech Mags. She's awesome. Hopkins and the whole UFO hypnosis field always made me uncomfortable. Hypnosis. Look, I don't know if you got hypnotized. I don't believe people that are like us, Don, that are self-controlled can be hypnotized. I don't believe that you can actually do that to us.
Well, you can reach a state of relaxation that is such that you allow yourself to open up much more.
Yeah, but in my opinion,
do.
it's still you allowing it to happen. That you
right.
And I do agree with that, but I don't believe in hypnosis as what it is. Oh, it is time for us to go to break. Oh no,
we're going to go to break.
Take over, Chanel. Take us away. Hi guys, this is Gary from Pop Culture Minefield here on KGRA, and we're leaving for our first break. I hope we survive.
Hey members, the new KGRA DB app is now available on iOS and Android devices. Gain on-demand access to any KGRA DB programming. Download any show directly to your mobile device to listen or watch on the go. Go to the App Store and search KGRA DB.
Behind every folded flag is a family. When American lives are lost in defense of our freedom, TAPS is there to help the friends and families of those who have served and died. TAPS, the Tragedy Assistance Program for survivors. We provide help, hope, and healing every day. Visit us online at TAPS.org or call 1-800-959-TAPS.
Are you looking to go on a faraway journey that is magical and mysterious, reaping on mystical legends? If so, then Mysterious Adventure Tours is perfect for you. Imagine a voyage to explore ancient mysteries of Ireland, haunted majesties of Scotland, or their chilling Birth of the Vampires in Romania. These small, esoteric getaways are limited and do feel vast. So, go to MysteriousAdventureTours.com and book your trip soon.
You're listening to the KGRA Digital Broadcasting Network. We provide unparalleled coverage of trending news in the world of ufology, cryptozoology, and paranormal phenomenon. Whether you're watching our video live stream or listening to one of our audio programs, you are getting the best from world-renowned researchers and hosts, guiding you through topics the mainstream won't touch. Miss one of your favorite programs? No problem. Head over to the members area at kgradb.com for access to our massive library of award-winning content. Make contact, stay connected, only at kgradb.com.
Oh, wow, we survived. Welcome back from the commercial break. Now for some more Pop Culture Minefield on KGRA. Hey, I'm going to talk like this. God, I'm so annoyed at that voice. Before we get into saving what's his name from an ass kicking, I would have finished these messages. We got another one, King Port Cal. You know what I like is good old Waffle House. What you need, sugar? I got into an argument with Cook there in Georgia when he tried to say that, Virginia ain't real Southerners. I said, the majority of your senior command of the Confederate Army were from fucking Virginia. In fact, from where I lived. I said, most of the battles were fought up and around there. When it finally came down to the South, you guys were already getting your asses kicked. And they burned Atlanta to Tecumseh Sherman. And so I got really fucking irritated. Robert E. Lee, where was he from? Where was Andrew Jackson from? Virginia, dumb motherfucker. But anyway, I do love the Waffle House in it is considered the official greeting station of Georgia because every exit has a Waffle House. I shit you not. It's so fucking weird. And some of them, totally true, have a Waffle House on each side of the highway. So whatever exit ramp you get off, you get a Waffle House. And I have only gotten food poisoning from 2 restaurants in my life. One of them was Jade East here in Springfield, Missouri. And the other one was the Roswell Waffle House in Georgia. And runny eggs got me sick, man. Runny eggs sounds like somebody's name from a rock band. Yeah, I played in a band with Runny Eggs. Yeah, that fucker could play guitar. So I don't know where these jokes come from. Though, fucking weird. Anyway, Waffle House is awesome. All I get there, I don't get eggs anymore. I get their waffles. I love their waffles. Good stuff. Let's see. I went to sleep last night thinking about making cinnamon rolls with cream cheese frosting. What? And to write it down, but I forgot. Okay, thanks, Night Rider. That's awesome. Let's see. We got Zach saying, "Were you driving with the car when you were late? But 2 hours were you driving with the parking brake on?" Good one, Zach. Let's see. John Ostates, I love me some Waffle House too. Okay, as long as there's no shootings. I got to tell you what though, that girl caught that fucking chair. I cannot believe they fired her. That was some kung fu, man. That was crazy. Did you see that, Don?
No.
Yeah.
Yeah.
They threw a chair at her, one of the metal frame chairs that they got there at the Waffle House, and some woman, I think it was a woman, it might have been a guy, threw the fucking chair over the counter at her, and this little blonde girl leaned back, caught it, spun it, and then sat it down harmlessly, like it was a martial arts weapon. She spun it and sat it down. And I'm like, that girl's got some good kung fu right there. You don't fire somebody like, and they fired her because she stood her ground. Because she stood her ground. And they went with the mob. The mob was pissed off about something. And a mob, because there's people of color in it, has to be right. And it's like, no, there's still people.
I'd be suing me some Waffle House.
I guarantee you she's going to sue them for being fired from there and why she was fired. So, and then Knight Rider says, what is that? Writing a list. I just did now. Okay, thanks.
Hey. I think I remember she wasn't fired.
No, the news I saw said she was released.
No, she wasn't fired. They told her that she could apply on whatever Waffle House she wanted, and she was already vetted. Then she moved of state, I think, and went to a Waffle House to apply for a job, and they told her
Can
that
you find
she
an
was
article
blacklisted.
Yeah, find a list. I mean, an article on this, please, where you're getting that, because I would like to see that, because she was blacklisted.
Blacklisted.
Yeah, fuck that, man. Anima says, "Welcome to Pop Culture Minefield, the channel that has more pets than hosts, and none of them behave." Did you? I don't know if she watched the video. I sent a video of Don Shipley, who's going to be our guest in 2 weeks, and Don his wife has a cat and a kitten, and it jumped on him at one point and just was distracting him from trying to do a show. And it was funny as hell. I love it. Welcome to we already read that one. Let's move to the next one. I mean, the pets don't behave. And Gary, yeah, that's true too. I don't behave. Well, I do behave. As my grandmother used to say that to me, Don. She'd go, "Now, Gary, you behave." And I said, "I will, Grandma. Just I can't guarantee it's going to be well behaved." But I'll behave in some fashion. Probably not good. Because that's just, I was a kid. John Ostains, I think I find alien hypnosis so disturbing because it's mixed in my mind with the satanic panic of the 80s. Tunnels under preschools and baby sacrifice stuff. I don't know. I do trust hypnosis to help people. I don't think it's what people think it is, because I don't think you ever go completely under somebody's spell.
Well, it has been used in law enforcement. But here's the danger. And there is a danger. And I don't mean initially a physical danger, but a mental danger. Depending upon the person conducting the session. And I personally seen it, not in law enforcement, but in the UFO field, where the person with the subject under supposedly hypnosis have led them unintentionally to the conclusions that the interviewer wants to hear. I've witnessed that. And when I did, I knew right then and there, this is not something for a bunch of freaking amateurs to do.
Yeah. Oh, John says, Das Wolfen says, "Hey, sorry I'm late. I fell asleep watching YouTube. Apparently not our show."
Yeah, really. Das Wolfen.
Das Wolfen. Let's see. Sorry, I'm not chatty. But Magitech Mag sent something too. She essentially was banned from employment at Waffle House. Sounds like a firing in any way. Yeah, in my opinion, that's exactly what that is. She was fired. You can paint it any way you want to with different language. It's still firing. You were made redundant is one of my favorites. Your position was made redundant, so I'm fired. You're not fired. You're just being released because your job's been made redundant. Do I get to collect unemployment? Yes. Then I'm fired. Fuck off with that language. Lost her job under false pretense. I'm not surprised because she didn't do anything. She just stepped up there and got a chair thrown at her, and she caught it in midair and got billions of fucking views because of it. It's so amazing. In fact, Martin, if you want to find that video of her catching that chair, man, I'd love to show that, because Don hasn't seen it.
No, I haven't.
And I'm telling you, man, that's crazy when she caught that damn chair. And very impressive. I don't know the story of what was going on in that establishment. All I know is it's a fucking business. And if somebody pisses you off, you file a fucking complaint. You don't fucking riot in a fucking restaurant. I don't care who you are. It's just, you don't do that. Now, it's one thing to become menacing or threatening, or do something that's really untoward.
Well, I would think throwing a steel chair at somebody would be construed as menacing and threatening.
Physical assault. It's assault
and battery.
And attempted battery. Exactly. I try to explain it to people, and you as a cop know this. It's like when somebody says, well, they were assaulted. I said, they were spoken to harshly and verbally threatened. No, they physically got. I said, well, that's physical assault or battery, as it's the legal term. Because in the medical field, we had to learn the legalese, the legal language to everything. That when you file a report of any kind, this is what it is. It's a writ. When you file a nurse's report, it is a writ. You cannot change it. It is a legal document. And if you alter it in any way, shape, or form, you can get fired. Not only that, go to jail for it. And even though I've never seen anybody go to jail for changing medical notes, but I've seen them get reprimanded and have to pay a hefty fine. Fuck you with blue waffles, suck a dick. Fucking Monkey Jeebus. For those of you listening on radio, Monkey Jeebus, read what he said to me, Martin.
Oh, why me? Gary loves the blue waffle.
Fuck you, Jesus. As we say in the military, you cocksucker. Woman guy never.
Not that there's anything necessarily wrong
with that. That's right. Yeah, they did it in a very sneaky way. They said she wasn't being fired, but she was fired. It's when you find out that you don't have a job anymore and you can't get a job anywhere in the company because you've been blacklisted, that's called firing. You got to be black belt to work at Waffle House. Drunk people come in at night. I got to tell you, one of the funniest things I ever saw, man, was in Central California. I went to a Denny's at like 1 o'clock in the morning. And first, one of the best moments of the fucking night, this gigantic, he was a stocky, heavy black man. And he looked like he was as tall as me, if not taller. And he just looked like a bulldog walking towards me. And he's got the menus and he hands menus and he says, "Can I get y'all anything to drink?" Like, what the fuck was that voice? I was like thrown by that voice. I was expecting like my buddy Tyrone or Luther. You know, it's like, "Yo, motherfucker, what do you want?" And I get this. "We got like tea. We got sweet tea. We got unsweetened tea." I'm like, what the fuck? Voice did not match the body. Yeah, that chick, from what I've heard, what happened that night, she absolutely should have been paid out. They should have given her a payout. Not. I hope she sues them. I hope she sues the shit out of them for that. She should have gotten a raise. Have you not found a video yet?
Yeah, I found some.
Because I don't see it being shared.
Well, let me give me a second, please. You will see.
A second. You should have already been on the money, Martine.
There we go. Close that bar down. There we go. Oh, show that again. Oh my God. That is so fucking badass what she did there. Chair goes flying across the room. She catches it midair, spins it, and just drops it straight to the ground. That is a kung fu master right there, my friend. She's got some kind of kung fu. That is so crazy. Man.
Oh, yes. The animals got loose from the zoo.
It's a crazy situation. And look, I know that, especially if you've been out drinking, it can get really rowdy. And I've seen a Waffle House get that way. I used to hang out with a bunch of skater buddies of mine, and we go, once again, 1, 2 o'clock in the morning after like hanging out all night. Only thing open in town is the truck stop and Waffle House, which just by happen in Lebanon, Missouri, Waffle House is right across from the truck stop. So you get truckers there and you get truckers at the truck stop. And go there because it's a great place to go when you're just like starting to sober up. You know what I'm talking about, Don, when you've been drunk all night.
Running out of high, running
out of booze. You run out of booze, you're starting to sober up, and Waffle House is delicious. And a situation, it happened between the staff again and a trucker who is demanding something ridiculous. And I can't remember what it was, but it had something to do with a special discount. And they're like, we don't do that at any of them. And it was funny. And got ugly. 1 o'clock in the morning. He says, that's a Tuesday night Waffle House. There you go. I still break down every once in a while. I just get a hankering for waffles. And the only two places I think that makes waffles good in this area of Missouri used to be the Swiss place. I can't remember what they call it, but they got bought out by a major chain. So it's now IHOP. So IHOP and Waffle House make the best waffles in town. I like IHOP waffles. I like it with the crispiness to them. I don't know. Are you a fan of waffles?
Oh, yeah.
Me?
Yeah.
Oh, yeah.
Yeah. I got to be honest with you. I'd never.
I love them with blueberries. Blueberries.
Real blueberries. Oh yeah.
Oh yeah.
Okay, so I'm going to tell you the truth. I have only had all the way up until this year, or I'm sorry, 2 years ago. 2 years ago, I've only had frozen waffles. I'd never even had waffles at Waffle House. I usually got pancakes or French toast. I never got waffles from them. And good God, man. I'm in Phoenix with my daughter. And we stop off for breakfast in the hotel we were staying in. This is back in 2018, I think it was, 2019. And I'm there with my stepdaughter, visiting my daughter and Deanna. And they made waffles in this little waffle machine. I'd never had waffles made that way before. And so I'm like, oh, cool. So I had it and I'm like, this is amazing. How come I'm almost 60 years old and this is the first time I've ever had like cooked waffles? I've only had Pop-Tart waffles, the ones you put in the toaster. And so now whenever I go to a restaurant, that's all I want. I don't want pancakes. I don't want French toast anymore. I want waffles. And my God, they're amazing.
Especially if they have blueberries in them. Oh, yeah.
Yeah, and that's what I had at IHOP. They had the blueberry ones that had real blueberries in it. And oh, my God, that knocked me for a loop. One of my other favorite things to do is I take strawberry or blueberry jam that has no added sugar to it, and I'll put it in the sugar-free syrup to give it that fruity flavor. Because when I was a kid growing up, one of my favorite things to have at IHOP or any of the local restaurants, Denny's or what have you, they would bring out the syrup, but they'd also bring fruity syrups to put on your pancakes or whatever. And I love that. And so I discovered, reintroduced myself to that, and I love it. A little strawberry or blueberry added to my syrup on whatever pancakes or waffles I'm having. Sadly, I don't have them very often because of my diabetes. But they have this new keto one that I like. It's Grizzly Bear keto waffles, and it's made with almond flour, and they're really good. Yeah, they're super expensive. Like when you buy waffles at the store, or waffle mix, it's like a couple dollars, $4. You get the keto kind, $8, $12. It's like super expensive, but in my opinion, it's worth it. Biscuits and gravy. Oh yeah, man. I grew up in the South. I grew up in Virginia, and biscuits and gravy was very common, man. And Don, my ex-wife, she, Tracy, Zoe's mom, she actually cried because she couldn't make gravy as good as me. She really did. She was crying in the kitchen. I'm like, what are you crying? She was like, my gravy is lumpy.
Now,
like,
I'll tell you another little secret. We've got waffle irons. Every once in a while, I make waffles with Bisquick. Okay?
Oh,
yeah. Bisquick is the way to go. And what I like to do is I'll mix up some brown gravy and then cook an egg. Of course, not recently with eggs, $8 and $10 a dozen, but cook an egg and put the egg on the waffle, then the gravy on the egg, and you be having something there.
Yep, I'm going to show it, Monkey. Jeeves, thank you for saying the name. I'm going to open this up in a new window, open image in a new tab. There we go. Share screen and Brave tab. And here it is. This is the stuff that I'm talking about right there. And it is amazingly good. It doesn't have the weird aftertaste or flatness to it.
Do you want me to show it?
Oh, are you not showing it? I was showing it. I shared it. Oh. Yes, that's the stuff right there. Absolutely delicious. Super expensive, but wow. It's perfect for the keto diet. And I do have to say it's very good. If you've never tried it, give that shit a try. Also, while we're at it, try, you want to hold up the envelope again there, Don? Try Wake by Fuel Up. This shit is so freaking good. It does help you stay hydrated, but the big thing is it gives you a B6 and B12 booster along with zinc, and it's got a crap load of caffeine, 180 milligrams. That's 4 cups of coffee. And yet somehow I don't feel jittery. I don't feel like
No.
wired.
No.
And instead it feels like it lasts all freaking day. And I'll go all the way till evening because Animal will tell you when I'm drinking it, I do not take my old man naps anymore.
Well, I'll tell you, yesterday I was due for that nap. And, you know, I just happened to think, no, I'm going to try some Fuel Up. And my God, that
it changes
Ooh.
it, dude. It
Yeah.
makes you, God, it really does. And, you know, and I joke about like, my new cocaine. It is not. It is. This stuff really works on a deeper level with you. And my focus is better throughout the day. I feel energized throughout the day. Because anybody who knows anything about speed and cocaine knows that it's a burst and then you have the collapse. There's no crash. I have no crash with this stuff. They did something amazing, in my opinion. I hope that Bill can work out a deal for you and me to just.
You know, there's one to drink before bed.
They have three, actually.
Yeah.
They have morning, they have midday, and then they have one that relaxes you. It's a berry something. And but I got to be honest, I have no trouble going to sleep. I get sleep and no problem most of the time. The only time I ever have a problem going to sleep is when I'm hyper focused on work, and that's what's keeping me awake. My body's like going, go to sleep, but my brain's like going, fuck you.
Yeah.
Fueled Up Gary is much better than Old Man Nap Gary. Yes, it's true. It's like we'll be like hitting 2 o'clock. I'm like, well, yeah, time to be hitting the old dusty trail. Gotta go take a nap. Not lately, not in a while. By the way, Mikey Sutton, he laughed because I told him the other day because like we had some massive news hit this week in the entertainment industry, but Mikey like posts this is a private conversation. He doesn't mind that I'm telling you because I'm not telling you any details. But this information, he goes, I knew about this stuff at 3 o'clock this morning. And I wrote immediately back. I said, and this person thanks you so much for not relaying that at 3 a.m. and causing me to have a fucking stroke. Thanks. Because he did. He about had caused me to have a stroke one night when they basically fired everybody. James Gunn says Henry Cavill wasn't fired. He just wasn't hired. I'm like, it's semantics because he was back. He was told he was back. That's why he made the announcement. And then you decided to rescind the deal. So he can act, look, I don't hate James Gunn. I don't. People misconstrue that. I'm not a Snyderverse guy, but I absolutely call bullshit when I see bullshit. Like Don and I are like straight shooters. And when we see somebody trying to bullshit and spin some shit, fuck them. Fuck that noise. I know spin when I see it. It's like James Gunn may not have said you're fired to him, but he made the decision not to continue with the deal and wanted to go in a new direction because he was given permission by David Zaslav because apparently Zaslav got pissed at Ben Affleck because Affleck was hemming and hawing on doing Batman again. And Zaslav hit a point where like, all right, fuck you. If you're not going to follow through, what's the point of doing it with any of them? Without you, the thing collapses. And so he told Gunn and his partner, Sprinkle Pants, whatever his name is. It's an S name. I don't really care what his name is. I don't care who he is. I really don't see this as a long-term relationship. I'll be surprised because I think that James Gunn screws every pooch in the end.
Look, I got to tell you, for 30 years, off and on, I've dealt with Hollywood. And there were times I just wanted to shave my head and go back to Vietnam because
I thought you were going to become a Moonie. Shave my head and become a Moonie.
Because those people drink from a different well.
Yeah, they do.
They drink from a different well. And I had some more experience today. And it's just like, what freaking universe am I in? And it changed. 10, 15 years ago. And I think it was the CERN Collider.
Yeah, it opened to alternate universe. Hey, I just looked into.
I'm only half joking about that, dude.
No, I'm right there with you because
I
wouldn't
don't
be
believe in
surprised
that.
if that's going on. I've always known it was Berenstain Bears. I've always called them that. But there are some things that like I remember that aren't there anymore. And I'm like, wait, wasn't that this? I've had it happen.
Mandela effect.
The Mandela effect. Yep. But I wanted to say something in the private chat. I didn't realize Chanel was reacting to some of the things we were saying. And she says, I've never been to a Waffle House. We don't have them here. Let's see. And then she says, pancakes greater than waffles. Chocolate chip pancakes are where it's at. And then she says, blueberry syrup is good. And I like blueberry syrup. I agree with you on that one wholeheartedly. I like blueberry syrup. I can't have it anymore. But I make my own by adding blueberry jam to the sugar-free syrup. The sugar-free, it's not sugar-free. They're natural occurring sugars. There's no added sugars to it. And I have no trouble with the natural sugars in the fruit. The spinning, like berries in particular, it doesn't impact me very much. But I got to tell you, man, blueberry added to the over-the-counter, store brand sugar-free syrup is amazing. Strawberry or blueberry, it tastes amazing. She says, didn't have biscuits and gravy till last year for the first time. Okay. Did you like it, Chanel? I'm really curious.
We would get a version of that in the Army.
Oh, yeah. Yeah.
They called it shit on a shingle.
Shit on a shingle, SOS. And I got to tell you, those biscuits in the Army, you can kill you. You can kill somebody with those things. Break one off, stab them right in the neck, man. It's a fucking weapon. You can play hockey with those cocksuckers. Military biscuits. The Navy, although I've eaten Navy food, Navy gets the fucking gravy, really. That's even the song. Navy gets the gravy and the Army gets the beans. And I got to tell you, man, biscuits and gravy in the Navy, completely different. But then I have to make an addendum because Fort Sam Houston, best breakfast I've ever had in the military was at Fort Sam Houston in San Antonio, Texas. They made the best biscuits and gravy, fresh biscuits. They were real cooks in that fucking I just call it restaurant, the kitchen. And they would make amazing food. And that's where I had my first breakfast burrito. And this thing was as big as my fucking head. I mean, it was like this giant fucking burrito, and I couldn't even finish it. And I'm like, this, and then I like asked my sergeant at one point, our drill sergeant, I'm like, hey, can we get permanent party here? I like it here. I like the food.
My very last hospital I was in after I got wounded, right before I discharged and went home, was at Valley Forge. And by then I was able to get up and I gimped around, I walked around, and the mess hall they had there in the morning, I put on 25 pounds in that hospital because every morning I would go down, get biscuits and gravy and scrambled eggs. Now the scrambled eggs were, probably powdered scrambled eggs. But I would get those biscuits, open them up, slop some eggs on them, and then cover the whole mess in sausage.
You're making me hungry,
gravy.
dude. You're making me so hungry now. I got to tell you, now cream chip beef is what we called shit on the shingle as civilians. In the Army, it was actually closer to sausage gravy, what we had. Little particles of beef or sausage in it, and it was delivered on either toast or on biscuits, and it was still called shit on the shingle. What was that? You owe it to yourself, what? To get some good biscuits and gravy. You won't regret it. Amen. And again, you can actually make biscuits from that Kodiak keto.
You can make them. You can make them from Biscuit.
Drop biscuits. Too. Yeah, well, drop biscuits. Used to make them all the time with Biscuit. Drop biscuits are great. You can thicken it up, and you can actually cut them like regular biscuits. You can actually fold them and everything. But I like drop biscuits. Hey, Mad Mardigan's in there. Hey, Mad, I lost.
Hey, any news out of Korea, Mad?
I could have. Look, if you're drinking juice, seriously, dude, it is nothing more than a laxative. And that's why I complain when you get juices too often in the hospital setting, because any nutrients you're getting, you're shitting it right back out. And that's how, when my daughter was given the diagnosis, when I got her back from the kidnapping, she was given the diagnosis of failure to thrive, where her body was consuming itself because they were feeding her whole juice, not watering it down, just whole juice, every fucking snack or meal. And she was shitting it right back out, and it was killing her. And that's why I got sole custody of her, because they were fucking idiots. I'm not saying they don't love her, because I know they loved her. They're just fucking idiots. What was that? You can put them in stew and make
drop
dumplings.
biscuits, drop them in stew, and you get dumplings. Yeah.
Yep. I am pretty sure Gary will take care of that if I ever make it over the pot. You will. I will feed her correctly. She will get so angry with me. She'll go, I don't want to eat that right now. And I'll go, tough titty, said the kitty, but the milk was good. Mad Mardigan is here. We love Mad. He couldn't make it because he was waiting.
No news from Korea, huh?
No news from Korea. It's a hardship. You know, it's a hardship duty over there still. If you serve near the DMZ, that's a hardship to her. Mad's Korean road trip was too funny.
Did you see this one?
The Kaiser. Hey, weren't you fighting the Huns in World War I?
Yes, I was, by God. Me and my Winchester Model 1897. You bet.
Fucking Dan Daly. I got to tell you, man, I like telling that story this morning about my grandpa, because it really did happen. Two major things, and I've got a script called The Bastard's Drum. I wrote it, it's gone, but it's still in my head, and I will rewrite that script about my grandfather in World War I, because he was at every battle, including Bella Wood. He was not in the Marines. He was in the I forget the unit that was put behind the Marines, and when the Marines needed to come back, they moved forward and held the position.
Well, that ended up being the Big Red One, wasn't it?
It could have been. It might have been first. But my grandfather was what was referred to as a bastards brigade, because he was a cannoneer. But they didn't have any cannons. They didn't have any artillery there. All we had was foot soldiers. So he ended up being a foot soldier. And he ended up in trench warfare. And he manned a Hotchkiss water-cooled machine gun. And the way the Hotchkiss was mounted was you had very little turn to it. It was like that much.
They weren't water cooled, Gary.
Well, the one he had, he said was it was a Hotchkiss. That's all I know. And I think I was told it was water cooled.
Water cooled. Anyway, weren't some brownies? Brownies. Oh my God. Brownies.
Well, let me get to the story. So, he's on this machine gun, and everybody that knew him knew he had a problem with the Catholics, the priests, and their main chaplain was a Catholic priest. And he didn't like him. They didn't get along. And they just assumed that meant my grandfather was atheist, which is not the case. He just didn't like Catholic priests because of something that happened at Boys Town up in Chicago. He's at St. Charles, him and his brother, my Uncle Lon. And they were very mistreated up there, abused. And I think he wasn't sexually abused. My uncle, I believe, was. But he was forced to leave because he started fighting people to defend his uncle, and they got him out of there. He said, "You're 16, you can go now." And he worked at putting shoes on horses at a local delivery stable, and shit money. And he saw a sign when he turned 17. Saw a sign, join the army, and things were heating up with Germany at that point. So he went and signed up in the army, got some decent pay, and he promised Uncle Lon, when I get back, I'm going to get you out. And he did. He kept his word. He got Uncle Lon out of the Boys Town there in Chicago. But in the end, he hated priests. And so that one young man, new guy, was sitting there just before his first battle. And he's kneeling, crying, and praying. And this one guy walks up to just giving him shit. Get up, get back up on that wall. And my grandfather, who he is, my grandfather, you did not fuck with that man. And he shot people. He had no trouble killing a man. He really didn't. Like if the son of a bitch deserved it, I'd kill him. Dumb sons of bitches, you know. And he was just like that, old school Midwest man. And this guy interrupted this guy, and my grandfather leaned down from his machine gun, holding on to the mount, and pulled out that little 38, and I think it was a Webley 38. Pulled it out and cocked the hammer back and put it in the guy's belly. He says, "You interrupt somebody praying again, I'll put daylight through you." He says, "Now you get." And the guy just turned terrified, you know, and he looked at that kid and he says, "You go ahead and finish that prayer, son. You pray until I tell you to get up here." And what else did he say? "And say a little prayer for me." That was another one. It was another thing he said. I forgot that. And it's just, I love the story of my grandfather and what he did. But he also told the story about those goddamn Marines. He was craziest sons of bitches you ever saw. Came walking back to get some R&R. We're walking past them, go to the front, and they're coated in what looks like mud, but it's not mud. It's mustard gas that's just on them. It's all over them. And they had poked out the lenses of their masks, their, breathing masks. And so they could see to aim, completely making the masks useless against the mustard gas, you know? And I'm like, that's a fucking Marine for you. It's more important to be able to shoot. And Dan Daly, of course, made that famous statement, "You want to live forever." Right there at Bellewood.
Which they did use in Starship Troopers.
Yes, they did. What's his name? Ironside. Michael Ironside uses that line straight from Dan Daly, man. Dan Daly is like just a major hero of mine. I mean, what he did on the wall against the Boxers during the Boxer Rebellion there in Nanking, the international city. Oh my God, what a gutsy dude by himself, no scope. Killed just a ton of these Boxer rebels, man. Just killing them, piling body on top of body. That's fucking guts right there. Marines, dude, they don't fuck around. Gary, hey Keto, what's up? Dustin, how you doing, my friend? Good dude right here. Yeah, I was just talking about that stuff that I use. That Kodiak is what it's called. And thank you again, Jeebus, for remembering the name. Kodiak Keto.
Why, yes, I do want to live forever.
Is that an option, sir? Is there a place where I can sign up for that? I wouldn't mind. And it kind of reminds me also of that situation at San Juan Hill with Teddy Roosevelt, because they really did whitewash that, what he did. What they leave out, even in the biopic with Tom Berenger, who plays him in the film, and Dale Dye was involved with the production. Because I talked to him about it. I said, they left out of there. They made it look like it was a white regiment that he was talking to. It's actually the black regiment that he was talking shit to and give him a hard time. And they didn't want to have that in there. But it's history, you know. Don't whitewash history. It is what it is. People were what they were. You cannot judge history with modern eyes. You just have to look at it and understand.
Well, you know, speaking of the Battle of San Juan Hill, when they went up there, those Spanish troops were vastly overarmed compared to what the Americans were packing. Those guys had Mauser rifles that they had bought from the Germans, the Imperial Germans, 5-shot magazine-fed Mauser bolt-action rifles. And we still had guys carrying 45-70 carbines, single-shot black powder.
Black powder.
Okay? Black powder. They still had troops armed with black powder. And all the major armies of the world then had gone to smokeless powder. And boy, I'll tell you what, they took no freaking prisoners when they went up that hill. Oh, no. They shot the hell out of those guys.
Yeah, and I'm trying to find the exact quote that he said, because he did one of those moments like Dan Daly where he yelled something out, but it was not very polite what he said. Because he yelled at him to get off their lazy asses, and and it came across as racist what he said. But you get this stuff with him and Rough Riders. Yeah, I don't see the quote though. But he did yell something, and I can't remember what it is. And they left it in the movie, but they had him yell it at the other Rough Riders, and it's like that's not what happened. Because Teddy Roosevelt, I've discovered some of the things that bothered me about him is historically he had moments where I felt he betrayed the black troops a couple times there at San Juan Hill, and also what he did in real life, because you had that incident down in Louisiana where there were allegations of a black soldier raping a white girl, and it was completely not true. And all of a sudden, you had riots going on down there against black soldiers, and Teddy Roosevelt didn't do anything to quash it, didn't defend him, stand behind him, and he betrayed him. And in the long run, any of the Democrats that followed him at the time left him behind, and some of the Republicans that defended him, who are, they were the greatest leaders of civil rights in the history of government, was your Republicans, and they let go of him because of it, absolutely because of it, and that's why he didn't get that next term. He killed his own political career, but it doesn't mean he wasn't a great man. He still was a great man. I mean, he's the first government official to go up against monopoly with Standard Oil, broke him up, said, you can't do that. It took Clinton to let him do it again. Clinton came into office. Next thing you know, all these companies were going back to monopolies again. And they've been doing it ever since the 90s.
Well, one of the biggest in my lifetime when I was growing up was Ma Bell. You were Ma Bell or you weren't talking. Period. That was it. And I'll never forget one time, this was in the mid 70s. I had a dog, a pup that I had, and he chewed up the phone cord, knocked my phone out. I only had one phone. He chewed up the phone cord, and this Ma Bell employee came in to replace it. It wasn't modular like today, where you could just take the cord out, throw it away, put a new one in, and you were good.
Yeah, everything was built in.
Yeah, you had to get a repairman, and he chewed my ass. Why don't you take better care of that dog? Talking to me, the customer, which he soon discovered was not the right way to go with me. But yeah, I'll never forget those guys. Hey, reach out, touch somebody. Well, when I was a SWAT team sniper, I did, but not with the phone.
Yeah, just as a reminder, like I back before caller ID, I used to fuck with Josh Becker. I'd call him up and I'd do voices.
And I thought he was in Canada.
No, he had run it. I called him up one day back when he's in California, and I said, Pacific Bell Operator 219, we have a collect call from Mr. Joshua Bucher. It's Becker. Mr. Becker, you have a collect call from Nome, Alaska. Caller, your name, please. I do believe he said his name is Ugnug. Will you accept the charges, sir? I don't know anybody in Alaska. I said, that's when I started saying, I was such a dick. I said, I'm not debating whether you know anybody up there, but it seems like an emergency and they seem to know you, sir. Will you accept the charges? Why would I accept the charge? And he gets into this debate with me on the phone. And I got him so fucking angry. He was like yelling into the phone. Why would I? And then I just started chuckling, hey, Josh. And he goes, fuck you, Kissell. Man, I miss being able to do that. Caller ID ruined my life doing phone pranks. Kingsport Cow, Buffalo Soldiers, Tuskegee Airmen. We always get left out. It's true. One of the things I hated about World War II, and I got mad about the J.J. Abrams Wolfenstein horror military movie he made or produced. God, I won't watch it. And the reason why is because they had integrated airborne. And I said, that didn't fucking happen in World War II. We had because what's his name from World War I had segregated the military again. It had been desegregated, and what's his name? Woodrow Wilson, that fucking piece of shit.
Huge socialist.
He's a big socialist, big fascist too. By the way, that's when you started seeing fascist symbolism in money, and he was a piece of shit. Birth of a Nation. He premiered it at the White House, and big supporter of the KKK,
Democrat.
Dixiecrat in particular is what we like to call them. They're Democrats from the Dixieland, and they are fucking racist as fuck. And but anyway, so he resegregates the military after it had been desegregated, and it stayed that way until the end of World War II. And so a lot of those tough fucking black airborne troopers never got to fucking serve. But I said, here's what you do if you want to paint a picture where something happens, is you say that on a super duper top secret mission, black airborne troop is sent in because regular airborne is missing on a mission. And that's how you do it. And that would have been interesting. But instead, he wants to do that woke bullshit of integrated it when it wasn't integrated. Fucking asshole. And that would have honored the actual black airborne troopers to have done it that way. That they were sent in to rescue another airborne unit.
If I send you a notebook, Gary, do you need a pen to go with it, or do you have your own pen?
I'm not sure if I should even fucking answer that question. What?
Well, you got to start making notes, dude.
For what?
For what? You see, that's my point. For what? John Ostains wanted me to tell the story about how I saved Phil
let's do it. Let's do it.
From getting his... I'm not going to do it this week. I may do it next week.
Is it too long?
Yeah. Well, it's not too long, but I'm just kind of put out.
Well, fucking remind me. This is a stream of conscious flow episode, Dick.
I just had to screw with you a little bit.
Yeah, I know. Oh, Joe's got to go. See you later, buddy. Thanks a lot, man. Thanks for stopping by. We're almost over anyway. Do you want to get into it?
Nah, I'll do it later. What the hell was that? Go back, Martine. There was something about Uhura. He totally
JJ. Yeah, he screwed up Uhura. And they screwed it up even worse in the new
Michelle Nichols?
No, he's talking about how she was cast and not even how she was cast. It was good casting. Zoe Saldana. What the problem he had was how she was portrayed in the show, that she's having a relationship with Spock. The whole thing was weird and off-putting.
The reboot.
Insufferable.
The reboot.
She was. And on the TV show is even worse with Strange New Worlds. Her, first of all, they cast a girl with no neck. That Michelle Nichols had a beautiful dancer's neck. You know, and they cast this girl with no neck. It's just like head to shoulders. And she's not, she's not feminine in any way. It was really fucking frustrating watching that show. And then they dropped that she spoke Swahili. That was her mother tongue, was speaking Swahili. I'm like, that was important in the show, that she spoke Swahili. And it was dealing with other nations in different languages that led her to be a communications officer. They fucked that character up on the show. I didn't like Stranger Worlds. It had one episode I really liked and one episode I thought was fun. The rest of it was crap. And she's my favorite character. Uhura's not my favorite, but she's right up there. I love Uhura's character. I also liked how they got away with that, dude. Making a female officer, a deck officer. She's a deck officer on a bridge. That was unheard of. In 66, no fucking way would that happen in the Navy. They showed it on Star Trek. That's how you do woke correctly. You're not, you do it and you're not an asshole about it.
Well, if you get right down to it, even though the guy that directed and produced the movie, I think he's a piece of shit. Starship Troopers. Now, the original book, okay, was quite a bit different than the film. But
it's very right-wing, politically right-wing. Yeah.
Yeah. But in the film, they had integrated infantry units.
Mm-hmm.
Okay, where males served together, took showers together, the whole 9 yards. And you talk about progressiveness to an extreme, and to an extent that's true today, to a big extent. Now, what I totally disagree with from a military standpoint is lowering standards, physical standards and requirements where everybody, if they try, can get through. That's not what the goddamn Rangers were for everybody to get through, or the Marine Corps. Only the toughest of the tough successfully complete that training. And you know where it all comes out in the wash? On the battlefield. I've been there, and let me tell you what, it's not a pretty place.
Nope. Well, I told you, when I was training some of the soldiers on one of the lanes that we had for combat medics, and I got my future late ex-wife and another female soldier together, and they had to take a wounded man through the entire course. And they made it all the way until we got to the sandbox, and they had to go under barbed wire and low crawl drag him, and they couldn't do it. And they started crying. And I'm being such an asshole standing there, but I'm making points to him. I'm trying to make a point to him. I said, "Oh, your tears will save him." Well done. You saved him with your tears of love and regret. Oh, don't worry. Go ahead and leave him. He'll figure out how to save himself. Go ahead. No, go ahead. And I was just wrecking them on this lane. But at the end of it, I thought they would hate me. I thought they would hate me after what I did. But they understood what I said to them. I said, some of you females need to not be frontline. You should have the upper body strength to at least drag a man to fucking safety. If you can't fucking fire him and carry him, you should at least be able to drag him. And if you can't drag him, don't be there. And I include small motherfucking weak ass men too. If you can't fucking drag your buddy to save his ass, you don't fucking belong in the front lines. We need people capable of saving each other. And I've always been funny about that shit, man. But yes, you need to read that book, Starship Troopers. Heinlein, man, he had a stance that he believed that there should be 2 tiers of citizenship. And he believed that in order to have the right to vote, you should serve the country first. Even if it's not military, you should serve your country.
Well, look, several years ago, because things were not going the way the leftists wanted the things to go, they proposed dropping voting age to 16. Do you remember that?
Oh, yeah.
I remember it. And a kid at 16, his brain is not even fully developed. It's not at 18 either. Nope. But at 18, you can legally, under our current laws, be drafted. We don't have a draft, but still, you're supposed to sign up in case there's an emergency and we need to draft. So, this business of dropping the standards. Now, if I were 18, that would kind of piss me off. But I have the ability to look back now at my current age and realize I think we're out of time.
Yep, that's Martin reminding us this is the end. It's either Martin or Chanel. So we've reached the end of the show, guys. I want to thank you all for being here. I'm glad Mad Mardigan was able to drop in his chat. Thanks a lot, guys.
Keep remembering, Mad, Korea, baby.
Korea, baby. I'll ask him, hey, you served in Korea, right, Matt? I want to thank you guys for being here. I want to thank Chanel for producing the show. Thank you, Martin, for being here. Love you guys. We'll see you next week here. Tomorrow, Keith is doing his show on Friday. We'll have Fantastic Friday, where we're going to talk about some new shows. Everybody have a great Wednesday. And hey, if Mead's got something going on, go rate his channel right now.
Keep looking up.
Yeah. Thanks a lot, Monkey Jeebus. Bye, guys.